Year 1917. Mahatma Gandhi has travelled from Champaran to Kolkata to meet the newly appointed British High Commissioner. The Champaran Satyagraha is just about to begin. A friendly British officer lets Gandhiji know about the new British High Commissioner and suggests that he meet him. Gandhiji accepts the offer, even though he had little belief that all the problems of peasants could be solved. He decided to travel to Kolkata to meet the High Commissioner, Henry Bluebridge. Gandhiji catches a train to Kolkata. He arrives at the High Commissioner office. He is told to wait. After some time, finally he receives the call.
Mr. Gandhi, it is an honor to finally meet you. Come, have a seat.
The pleasure's all mine, Mr. Bluebridge.
I hope the journey was not too tiring. Would you like to have something, a cup of tea perhaps?
No, thank you. The journey was fun.
Splendid. How could it not be? After all, we have built such amazing railways. Now tell me, Mr. Gandhi, how can I help you?
I have come here to talk about the difficulties of the Champaran peasants, Mr. Bluebridge.
Really? What are these difficulties exactly?
The tenants are forced and compelled to plant 15% of their holdings with Indigo.
As far as I know, that is due to a long-standing contract between the peasants and the Raj. You see, Mr. Gandhi, Indigo is a very important crop. It has enormous export demand, so it is of great importance to the economy.
It is not only about that, Mr. Bluebridge. They have to pay taxes, but after all this, they have barely what it requires to go by.
I am sorry. That is something that I cannot do anything about. You see, the empire, as large and powerful as it is, does not run on its own. It requires resources. Taxes are a very important source of income which every subject, including you and me, have to pay. Not only the peasants of Champaran, Mr. Gandhi.
Then why do you force them to do labor? It is not something that you or I do.
They are peasants, Mr. Gandhi. Labor is what they are meant to do. It is their duty, cause that is what they are, just peasants.
They are not just peasants, Mr. Bluebridge. They are people who give their blood, sweat and tears to free the empire, to provide resources for the empire. They are not just peasants. They are the most important assets of the country. So since you cannot help me in any way, I have to resort to other methods, Mr. Bluebridge.
Other methods?
Yes, other methods. Because like you, I cannot close my eyes to their sufferings, Mr. Bluebridge. They are being exploited and tortured by the landlords. They are starving. If you cannot help us, then we will launch our satyagraha.
Is that a threat? I am the High Commissioner of the Eastern Provinces of the British Raj, appointed here by His Majesty the King himself. And you have the audacity to come into my office and to threaten me?
This is not a threat, Mr. Bluebridge. This is the truth. The truth is that this is not a British Raj, but a proud nation, and you are nothing than just an occupying force.
A proud nation which is nothing by itself. Look around you, Mr. Gandhi. Everything you see was made by us. You are nothing without us. We made you into what you are today.
We were the most prosperous nation in the world before you made us your slaves.
Oh, really? You were a bunch of uncivilized barbarians before us. We made you into what you are today. Trust me, Gandhi. You need us.
We were the richest country in the world, Mr. Bluebridge. You came here. You made us your slaves. You took our wealth away, and you are still dependent on us. Without us, you may have already lost the war. Our soldiers fought their life for the empire just because you promised them independence.
Independence?
Yes, independence.
Do you really think you can survive as a nation? How can you?
We will not just survive, we will prosper as a nation.
How can you possibly survive? Dozens of different religions, hundreds of different languages, thousands of different cultures, and you think you can survive as a nation? You will end up killing each other. It will be the biggest disaster known to man. Do you have anything in common at all?
We may not have much in common, but we will set apart our differences and we will find unity in diversity. What you say is our biggest weakness, we will make it as our biggest strength.
How long do you think you will survive as a united country? 100 years? 50 years? 10 years? Mark my words, you will not even survive a single year. You will split up into 1,000 different countries, which will then fight each other for land and resources.
We will see, Mr. Bluebridge. Thank you for your time. Now, I have to get back quickly. We will go to the courts and we will launch our protest, but in a peaceful manner, since we do not believe in violence as a solution.
You will not succeed, Mr. Gandhi.
Mr. Bluebridge, don't underestimate the power of a common man's will. We may not be perfect, we will face many problems, but we will build a strong nation. A nation where everyone will be equal. A nation which will be proud for its diversity. A nation where no one will be inferior or superior to each other, irrespective of the skin color, caste, gender, religion. A nation where brotherhood will be formed instead of hatred. Goodbye, Mr. Burbridge. Best of luck, Mahatma Gandhi.
Maybe you can become the difference.
Gandhi started the Satyagraha a week later on 17th April. The Champaran Satyagraha became India's first civil disobedience movement. Gandhi led organized protests and strike against the landlords and the government. It was during this agitation that first time Gandhi was called Bapu. Champaran movement concluded with the introduction of Champaran Agrarian Bill, which later became the Champaran Agrarian Law. It granted farmers more control over land, lower rents, and greater concessions. The Satyagraha birthed the political experiment of non-cooperation and non-violence. This was for the first time that civil disobedience in India made the British adjust their solipsistic attitude. While the British government had crushed the Indian Rebellion of 1857, Satyagraha, with its non-violent communication, confused the colonial government into believing that it would be unsuccessful. Hence, it became a very important part of India's freedom struggle. Our freedom fighters gave their lives for the dream of building a country which takes pride in its diversity, where everyone are equal and free and whose greatest asset is its own citizens. It is our duty to continue the struggle of making India the most prosperous country in the world.